last summer for about a month, I lived in a smallish, 2-bedroom, technically, apartment in sort of, what do you call it, like a rent-controlled like housing development near Charlottesville, Virginia. It was a sublet, so I was really desperate for a place to live in August. And I lived in this sublet, which had white carpet at first, with my 2 cats and my little sister and her 2 cats, my little sister's girlfriend and her medium to large sized dog, and some lady's scrappy, skinny little calico kitten. And we all lived there for a month, so that's what, 2, 4, 6 animals and 3 people? I hope I did the math right in front of all of you. We lived there for a month in this sublet. Here's what happened. My sister and I ended up in Charlottesville, Virginia, by a total coincidence. We were living like far apart. I was in West Virginia and she was in North Carolina. And then I moved to Charlottesville because, okay, when I used to live in the country, like, I would always think about like which cities might be nice to live in, because like it's fun to try to do something other than what you're doing, because that's productive. And so I would think about, and I thought, I had some friends who were from Philadelphia and always said that like it seemed like my personality would go really well with Philadelphia. They were like, you'd love it. So they were just, probably making that up because that's where they were from. But so I always kind of thought I'd like Philadelphia. I kind of like D.C. the couple times that I visited because the metro is real clean and everything. So I was trying to think about where to move, but in the meantime I was really, really tired of my job because it was a job where I had to like think every single day, like come up with ideas and write things, and I had deadlines, and it was horrible. So I was trying to find like a really easy job where I could just like be around pleasant people and like work with my hands maybe, and like work around like pretty things like clothing or jewelry or something nice. So I'm trying to find some place to go, and I'm trying to look at all these different towns I might want to live in. Meanwhile, I'm just like, Charlottesville's like right there, so I'll just move over there. So I moved to Charlottesville, Virginia, and my sister, who's like just different from me, she has like a career. She's a teacher. She teaches elementary school. So she was living in North Carolina, and she was teaching in public school. And she and her girlfriend had been together for like 2 years, and they broke up. Sarah moved to North Carolina, and then they were like, oh, I miss you, oh, I miss you. So Tracy moved down there with her. So there they are with the 2 cats that Tracy hates that belong to Sarah. And then they get this big dog, and the ad says it's a Jack Russell Terrier mix, and they go to see her, and they fall in love with her, and they get her, even though she's like this tall and like big, and she looks a little bit like a pit bull, and she's like all brown, like not at all like a Jack Russell Terrier. But what it is, they took her to the vet and paid all this money to figure out what kind of dog she was, and it turns out that it's like if you mix like every kind of domestic dog that there is like ever together, you get like this dog, and that's what she is, and her name is Hunter. And so they have this like obnoxious dog, and they decide like they're running out of money. One of them has no job, the other has no lunch hour and no planning period, and they're like thinking about moving a little bit closer back to home. And my sister starts looking around, and she finds like this perfect school like in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's like a school for kids with autism. She wants to work there, so she applies there, gets the job, and we both end up moving to Charlottesville, Virginia within a month of each other, like totally by coincidence. So meanwhile, when I first moved to Charlottesville, and I didn't know my sister was going to move there, I met this boy, who was from Philly. And it was just a total coincidence. Like, I got friends from Philly, and I always thought I kind of like Philadelphia, So I met this boy, and I started coming to Philly to visit, because remember I wanted to be around, pleasant people and pretty things and everything? And this boy was pretty. So I started coming to Philadelphia a lot to visit, and I liked it, and I thought it was a beautiful city, even though I had a suitcase full of clothing stolen out of my car. And when I was here for a week in August, it rained, for 4 days straight, and I was freezing, and had no socks, because I packed for August. But I decided I liked the city of brotherly love anyway, and it was a nice way later that summer to get away from my sister, who I have a lot of affection for. Yes, she's a darling girl, but here's what happened. I was in Philadelphia visiting the pretty boy, and when I'm on my way home, I get a phone call from my sister saying that, yes, not only did she get the job, which I'd been asking her about, and she hadn't been returning my calls, but yes, she got the job. She was moving to Charlottesville, Virginia, and she was actually on her way, right then. I lived in a little house with a roommate, and we ended up with my sister, her 2 cats, her girlfriend, and their big dog, and on my floor, my roommate's floor. So we all got this sublet and ended up living there for the month of August. So anyway, long story short, I've been here for about 6 months. I'm looking for a new place where I won't have any roommates. So if anybody knows of something around the Italian market area, and I only have one criterion, it cannot have enough room for a couch or even a sleeping bag.